So the Rebbe is explaining how the idea that Parshas Bamidbar is read before Matan Torah is not just to separate between the Teichacha and Matan Torah, but because the idea of the counting of the numbers, the counting the Yidden, is negeya for what's going to take place with Matan Torah. And the first point about it is to give the Yidden the strength that they shouldn't become this battle amongst the nations of the world. So by counting them, that gives them that chshivus. And it's important for Hashem just to count, not just to know this, because He needs to bring it down into the world, so this should be felt in the world. So therefore it's necessary in the world to bring about this counting. And this is also the reason why you had to have the count only from 20 years old and up, because up till 20 years old, the person's involved in learning Torah. That's not yet the impact on the world. Torah is about the person's own connection with Hashem. But when he has to be a Yotzei Tzava, when he has to go out to conquer the world, he is doing mitzvahs, he's bringing a lakus into the world, that's where you need to have the idea of minyan.
Why add Ben Shishim?
So again, most probably because Ben Shishim is again, just like Begashmi is, he's not Yotzei Tzava anymore. The same thing, Beruchnis, he's also not so much involved in the world.
It's not that what the Rebbe said.
Yeah, the Rebbe didn't say it. That's why I'm saying my own svara, perhaps.
Okay.
And then he says that this is the whole idea of the Chumash is called Chumash Pekudim, which means, in addition to the fact that it's talking about the importance of the number of the Yidden, but it's also just idea, and the lesson from numbers is important before Matan Torah, and that's also the reason why we have Sfiras Omer before Matan Torah, because numbers in and of itself has a very important lesson. Numbers mean that every single number, there's no less and no more. Every single number that you count, every single thing that you count is counted exactly the same. And that comes as a result of the etzem. When you have your connection with Hashem is based on your emotions or based on your feelings or your intellect or your understanding, so then there's a difference. Every Yid understands differently, every Yid feels differently. But when you're dealing with the essence, over there's no difference amongst the Yidden. And before Matan Torah, it's important to emphasize the essential connection of a Yid with Hashem. Not just a connection that comes because of my understanding and my feeling. And this is also expressed in Sfiras Omer, that every day of Sfiras Omer is counted the same. Whether it's a weekday, whether it's Chol Hamoed, whether it's Chodesh, Shabbos, and Yom Tov. Because if you're dealing with feeling and intellect, so then Shabbos is a holy day, Yom Tov is a holy day. What happens when I'm eating breakfast on a regular day of the week? But if you have the idea of numbers shows you that even B'chol D'Rachecha Da'eyu, it has there the connection with the essence, your connection with Hashem is such a bond that there's no place and no area in the person's life that's separated from the Eibishter. And the fact that we needed to have both types of numbers, both the number of the counting in the Midbar and Sfiras Omer, is about two types of counting. One counting that reflects the essence, and one type of counting that comes from avodah. The counting in the midbar was just the essence. The counting that comes from Sfiras Omer has to do with avodah. It came after the Hakravas Omer in the Beis HaMikdash, and then every single day of Sfira you're working on a different midah, and therefore there's different levels of every Yid, how they do and what they do and how they count. Because we're talking about here Matan Torah, there needs to be the joining of al yoinim v'tachtoinim and tachtoinim v'al yoinim. Tachtoinim yalul al yoinim and al yoinim yedul tachtoinim. So there needs to be both things together. You need to draw down from the essence into the koiches hagiluyim, and then you need to elevate the koiches hagiluyim to the essence. So the counting of Midbar Sinai, that's drawing the essence down. It should be revealed in the world. It should be revealed in Seichel and Midas. Anoich Hashem alekecha, koichacha v'chayisecha. That the Anoich Hashem, which is connected with the essence of the Yid, should come down into the koiches panimim of Yid. And with the avoid of Sfiras Omer, I'm elevating my midas and raising it up to become one with the essence. And then you have the yichud of el yonim v'tachtoinim through that.